Hi, I'm Anna, the content creator for Marshall Communications, and this week I'm going out of my comfort zone with the French treat called the macaron. Not the macaroon, which is a delicious coconut thing, but the little egg white poofy things that look really beautiful in French pastry shops. So I'm gonna have my daughter help me a little bit, and we're going to make some apple pie macarons. Fingers crossed, let's put our hair up and get started on this recipe, which is going to be challenging. The first step in making the macarons was weighing out all the ingredients. So I love my kitchen scale, and you just put little bowls on it and then hit tare, and then you get the precise amount, and that's really helpful when you're baking things. So the first thing I did was have room temperature eggs, and I put the egg whites in here, and now I'm aging them, which is just letting them sit out for a while. I think the goal is maybe to dry them out a bit to make really nice, stiff, beaten egg white peaks when you get to that stage, but we'll have to see. So now my daughter's gonna help us on the next step.
Put the almond flour and the powdered sugar in the food processor, and then we're gonna pulse it for 30 seconds. So I'm adding 8 teaspoons of salt and beating it at medium for a minute. Some sugar.
Okay, so 1 tablespoon at a time, we're going to fold in some sifted granulated sugar with a spatula.
Ah, it feels weird.
I want pink macaroons for our apple pie macarons. I'm gonna add a couple of drops of gel food coloring and just see if it makes it pink. And I'm mixing it at low. That'll be nice. The next step is adding the almond flour and confectionery sugar and mixing it in very gently into the egg whites here. And all I've read, they're always like no more than 50 times. Stir it 50 times. So I'm gonna count and see what happens. We're gonna let this batter rest for about 15 minutes before we pipe it. And in preparation of piping it, I have put a little piping bag and a wide tip. It's pretty big. Probably has a number. I don't know what it is. Into a little mason jar. Actually, it's not a little mason jar. It's about a 2-cup mason jar. So it's all ready for me to get the batter in. And I've prepped our cookie sheets. Silpats are supposed to be the best for these, but I only have one. So I'm using parchment paper on the other. And now we wait. And then a lot of people pipe the batter using a template, like they draw a template on the parchment paper. I don't have patience for that. So I'm just gonna eyeball it and do my best, and I'll show you what they look like once we've piped them out. All right, I have piped out a bunch of little dollops, and then there's this step, which is to get air bubbles out. And once they're all piped, we just let them sit here for 45 minutes because once again, the egg whites need to age. So while we're letting these age, we're going to make the apple butter buttercream frosting for the center. Yummy. So you know that the macarons are ready to be baked, and when you can like poke them and they have this like dry feeling to them, that's when they're ready to go in the oven. You bake them for about 10 minutes, rotating the pans halfway through, and they're supposed to puff up and get these little like feet, they're called. And so I hope that happens. We'll see. So the next step is to fill the baked and cooled macarons with the apple butter buttercream frosting that I made, and I'll have a link to that. And it really tastes like apple pie. It's amazing. So once they're cool and they pop right out the silpat or the parchment, we're gonna just pipe a little bit, the icing in, and then pop them on. Now ours, when they baked, like here's a really nice flat one, but a lot of them are like poofy on the top, and so when you put them together, like it's gonna kind of roll around. But I don't know, it looks pretty cute. Little macaron. And then the next step will be the taste test, which of course my kids will be doing. What do you think? Cadence, you've had real macarons from the store. What do you think?
They're better. They're better like baked, but these taste good.
Okay, well, it's pretty good.
The texture is better for the store-bought, but yours are good flavor.
This is my epilogue to the macaron recipe. The recipe that we used really kind of led us astray because the macarons, the batter wasn't the right consistency and they overcooked. So they look really kind of wonky. So today I set out to fix that, and I did not overbeat the egg whites, which was definitely the problem with the recipe. You just beat the egg whites until they're stiff, and then you fold in the batter, and that should work. Then you can see like the little feet. These ones cooked up much better. They're not pretty and pink, but this is what a macaron, or at least it's definitely closer to what a macaron should look like. So the recipe at the end of the video is going to be the version that I use for the second batch, to not lead you astray with lies that I found on the internet. So happy baking, and if you make a mistake, usually they still taste delicious, even if they don't look perfect.